Well, hello and welcome back. Today we're working on an Asus X540U that doesn't power on. The laptop, as soon as you connect the power supply, draws 0 amps, and if you press the power button, does absolutely nothing. Let's disassemble it and see what it is that it's preventing it from booting up. We can see some screws are missing there. This is quite an easy laptop to disassemble, and it's quite an easy laptop to troubleshoot. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for us to show some measuring around and some tips on how to determine what is faulty and what is not. As soon as you've removed all of the screws, you can just pry open the palm rest or the top case, and as you can see here, you will need to remove some flex cables, first being the trackpad one and second the keyboard one, and then you can remove the palm rest and the keyboard safely. Let's place this aside. You can see that this has had an SSD upgrade because it doesn't come with an SSD normally. The first thing we always do, as you should know by now, is to disconnect the battery. In this case, we can remove the screw, and that's it for the battery. Now we should remove the LCD cable. There are some signs of, I don't know if you can see that. Yes, you turned on. There are some signs of liquid damage here. Here. And here. Well, we're gonna see about that in a little bit. There's a Macbook behind me that needs some attention. Let's remove the motherboard and start checking around. There's one screw here. Okay. Yes, and there's one screw here. Now we should remove the CPU fan. And remove this from the battery. If we take a closer look after we have removed the plastic cover here, so there was some liquid damage, but I think it was on top of the plastic cover there. I don't think there is anything suspicious going on here. We will put this under the microscope, of course, but so far, so good. And on this side, just some dust and some And with that commercial break, let's put this on our bench and bring our multimeter here so that we can start poking it around and see what it is that is going on there. So if we connect this in here, oh, let's see. Black probe to ground. We have 19 volts. I said black probe to ground. We have 19 volts on the DC in, which goes on this side. And obviously we have 19 volts there and here as well. And I'm just following it along. Okay. And we should have 19 volts here. Okay. And here. We have it here as well. Okay. 3.3. 5 volts. The laptop is still not booting up. We have 19 volts here as well. I think that these kinds of laptops power on by themselves as soon as you connect the power supply here. So I'm guessing this might have something to do with the BIOS being corrupt. Let's remove that and try to reprogram the BIOS and see if that fixes our problem. Let me get the BIOS programmer for that. There we go. We're gonna be needing that here. So what we need to do is, since we have all the voltages, and I don't know if you saw that, but when I connected the power supply, they flashed and they just went off. So let's go ahead and remove the BIOS chip. What is the orientation of this? Can you see that? The little dot is here. That is the first pin. And so this needs to go like so. Let me show you what it is that I'm doing. So we need to detect that chip. It's a B1 and we can read it. Okay. I think I should have this kind of BIOS, the .bin file. Okay, we managed to read it. Now we want to save it. Let's go to our BIOS, Asus X540 UV, And we'll call this old Asus and save, and we can load revision 2. Is this a revision 2? Yes. Let's load this one and try to program it. If you don't have that kind of file on your computer, there are many forums or websites that you can download it for free. All you have to do is just type in the motherboard part number, which is this X540UV revision 2, followed by the word BIOS or bin file. Be careful though, you're not new on the whole internet thing. So if you see a suspicious looking website, don't click on it. There are sites like Bad Caps or Alice Sailor, where that's where I usually download my files from. The BIOS was programmed successfully, and I think the orientation was like so. What we should do now, or what the laptop should do, it should turn on and not power off. It should follow a normal booting procedure. Okay. Now, let's see if the lights will remain on. It was right here. So if we connect the power, we have white LED and an orange LED, and they're not turning off. Current on the power supply is like 500 milliamps. Okay, let's put this back together and see what happens. Let's bring the rest of the laptop here. I need to place this side in first so that we can assemble the rest. Okay, battery connected, LCD cable connected. This little screw here is for the Wi-Fi. Okay. And the speakers. And CPU fan. The I/O board that connects the SSD. And since this was a tricky keyboard to remove, I'm going to show you how we can connect it back. You just need to hold the laptop like this, lift the clip there, insert the keyboard, and for the touchpad you will need a pair of tweezers because it's kind of smaller and thinner. And come on. There we go. Secure that in place. And let's see if this is going to work. Power supply in. We only have an orange light, which indicates that the laptop is charging. and it's not turning on by itself because there's a battery connected. So we press the power button, and oh, there you go. There you have it. I'm not gonna show this to you, so I'm just gonna put this here. Oh, there's nothing to be shown. There's just a photo, but that's it. We were able to fix this laptop by reprogramming the BIOS. The symptom that it had was that it did power on, or rather there was a LED that turned on and then went off. So we measured around the motherboard, and the main power rails were there. 19 volts were there, 3.3 and 5 volts were there. There were voltages on the BIOS chip. So that led us to believe that if we reprogram the BIOS, the laptop would indeed turn on, as it does. And it is charging at the moment. I don't know if it holds charge. It doesn't, because it should charge. It's not charged. Oh, it's not going to charge because we have the screw outside of the motherboard. We need to screw that screw in place so that it starts charging. Well, that's it. I hope you learned something, as I do in every video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.